I don't really want to dance to this, but I feel like it's contagious. I don't know. You doing a trap beat? I don't know what a trap beat is, but Mike keeps trying to teach me. You know, a drummer wants to drum.
Ready to roll?
Flip your stick.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to CoffeeU. Not too much of a delay that time.
No, that was much less than
very unpredictable.
usual.
You never know what you're going to get.
Man, all over the map.
Hi, how are you? So nice to have you today. We're here with our good friend and Vice President of Operations for Baba Java Coffee,
Brad Haynes.
I'm Nathan.
Hey, everyone.
So nice to see you. I'm the guy along for the ride. And today on CoffeeU, we have a very specialty guest.
Yes, we do, as always.
No stranger to the show, but we've never had an official interview with him.
No, we haven't.
So we want to welcome Jayson with a Y, Dobelstein.
Hey, glad to be here.
How you
Jason,
doing, buddy?
I'm glad you said
Doing
Jason
well.
with a Y. That's good.
It's always been there. Yep.
It's on the birth certificate. It's official.
Right. Yep. My dad's name is Jay, so I'm Jay's son. It's pretty creative, pretty cool.
That's brilliant. I didn't know that.
That is
That's right.
genius, actually. Jay's
I knew
son.
his name
use
was
the S
Jay,
twice,
but I
but
didn't
yeah.
know.
It's
I
not
didn't never.
Jayson, but yeah.
That's okay. That's
I
cool.
never. I'm not smart enough to catch that.
I never thought about that
apparently.
either.
So
Well, he goes by Eddie, so.
That is true. He does go by Eddie.
well, Jayson, welcome. How are you, buddy? Everything
Doing
good?
Yeah, things are good.
Busy.
Always busy. Yep.
We were just talking about how his son was playing the drums now, so he'll be soon. If he gets his new kit, he'll be, with headphones on and.
Well,
We'll all have headphones on.
yeah, I'm about to say the whole family will walk around with headphones.
Yep.
Well, we want to introduce you to everyone, and we want you to just tell us a little bit about Jayson and your life and your story, your coffee story especially. So, but tell us about Jayson and your family background and things like that.
Yeah. Well, my wife is Jerry. We've been married since 2007, so we'll have to do the math somewhere in there. 20 years coming up, not this year.
It's
but
almost,
next.
you're 19.
That's right. And we've got 4 kids. We've got one finishing 10th grade, one finishing 7th, finishing 6th, and finishing 3rd. So it's a fun house.
Definitely.
Always interesting.
Never
Always
boring.
interesting, yeah. Always busy, especially this time of year. Heard people calling it Maycember for the first time this year. I don't know if it's a new thing going around, but
Maycember.
Because there's always something going on all the time. Yeah.
but it's definitely busy. Jerry's graduating from
Now that's amazing.
wow.
from her
That's
graduate degree.
crazy.
She's got going to be a counselor at Stillwaters coming up here soon, and that's huge. She's been working on that for just about as long as I've been at Baba Java.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a husband who went through the graduation of his wife last year, it's a great feeling for sure.
So where are you from? Tell everybody where you're from. I mean, we know where you're from,
Right.
But tell everybody, what you want to share.
Well, I grew up here in Birmingham, Alabama. Was here all the way through college because I stayed and went to Samford. Then after Samford, I went for a couple years to South America. Spent some time in Bolivia and Peru. That was a lot of fun. Came back and
Some great coffee producing countries.
yes, for sure. And that's when Jerry and I got married, and we were here. Did some more school, some seminary, and some studies, and then we went overseas also to another part of the world, to Ethiopia. We were there for about 7 or 8 years. So Isaiah was 1 when we went, and then we came back as a family of 4. I have 2 that were born in Nairobi, and Francie was born in China. She came to be with us when she was 3 years old. We went and finalized adoption in China, and then came back to Ethiopia first, and were there for about 3 months before we came back to the United States to finalize the United States side, and then spent some time in Ethiopia as a family of 4 before we came back to the States we've been back longer than we were there. So
Yeah,
the numbers seem to
sad.
fail me sometimes, but we've been back here in the States for about 9 years, I guess.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, both Brad's wife and my wife have known Jayson a very long
Yes.
time.
For sure.
Because they went to youth group together at
Yeah.
a local church. And
I've seen some awesome pictures of Jayson and his late 90s haircut.
There's a lot more hair there.
Dancing around the stage at church.
Back then, they called
great.
it like the soccer boy haircut, I guess. But soccer haircuts are so wild and crazy. And I don't know if there is just one. But yeah.
It's so funny.
I'll own that I was part of what we had there that was like a show choir. Went on choir tours, big light rigs and sound and everything. Loved the stage crew just as much as I love dancing, but I did love the dancing and singing. So,
That's great.
yeah, I'll own it.
So you're living in Bolivia. What was that like?
Bolivia was crazy. I had the opportunity to go out into basically the middle of nowhere. Like I was getting to go out and spend time in communities, and we would walk into communities having kind of set up a base camp at the end of the road and then go hike out. Sometimes show up and just be like, hey, we're here just to kind of hang out with y'all. And, you know, like we wanted to be able to share stories of hope with them.
Yeah.
But, you know, they had no idea what that was, but they were so hospitable that we'd walk in and they'd be like, yeah, hey, just stay with me. And sometimes we would stay with them for like 5 weeks. So we'd hike in with a backpack, and a partner of mine, we'd sometimes go work in the fields with them, like in their crops. Sometimes we would just go exploring with them, different places. Went everywhere from like riverside communities to mountain communities. It was super cool. One time we were mapping new areas. Just think we were in like the Andes Mountains, and it was, if we were flying in, you're going over the mountains and you're seeing, you know, the ice cap mountains, and then you go down in, and some of the places we were in jungle, but it was at like 8,000 feet. In fact, our Apollo coffee, our Bolivia Apollo coffee, I lived in Apollo for a little while.
Wow.
So that was really neat when we brought that coffee on, because I was like, I've been there. And even outside of Apollo to the little community, Trinidad was a place that I had been to. But
that's cool.
The fact that it's like an altitude, but also a kind of a jungle climate.
That's crazy.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Did you get to, were any of these communities, were they coffee farming communities at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. And that one specifically, they were participating right in the Coffee for Cocaine project, and so like there's this balance a lot of times, and this even happened in Ethiopia too, where there is, okay, I'd like to use my land to make money, and then sometimes it's like, hey, is the best way to make money, you know, producing this plant that could be used for like narcotics, or to make this plant that can be used for coffee. And I think it just depends on whether they can make more money with one or the other. And so, you know, as coffee becomes more popular and is in more demand, it helps fight the other side.
Interesting.
Now in Bolivia, coca is like a tea. It's just a leaf. You drink the tea kind of like we would drink like a chamomile tea. And it's got a little bit of a calming effect for the stomach, kind of very similar kind of thing. So we drink that. Now it is the leaf that like you can make cocaine from, is what they say. So like we wouldn't be allowed to bring the coca tea back in, even if we were going to drink it as an herbal tea, because they're like, it makes it on the list. You can't bring that in.
That's funny.
But the communities around there, they were really fun. Sometimes they were suspicious of us because we were coming from so far away. I mean, like, they weren't speaking English. Most of them weren't even speaking Spanish. They were speaking like Quechua and some other things. Got the chance to learn a little bit of that, but those languages get really hard.
I'm sure.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Because they're not written, I'm assuming.
Oh, there's some of them are written, but it's just hard to find somebody who's willing to practice with you.
I got you.
You know, and they're always going to be mixing in, because their trade language really isn't so much their heart language there. It's more of they're going to be mixing it along the way.
I got you.
Lots of languages rolling around up in this head of mine. If I try to speak one now, having not flexed one in a certain area, like, it's going to come out totally jumbled. I'm going to have a little bit of Amharic from Ethiopia, maybe some Quechua, some Spanish, and
that's funny.
I'm probably making up words in there somewhere too.
We all do sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Well, speaking of Amharic, so you're in Ethiopia, and how was that?
So Ethiopia was very different.
What city you were in? Addis?
So we were in Addis, which is the capital. Totally saturated with, well, not saturated, but a lot of foreigners, because you got all the embassies, you got all the NGOs that are there. So when we were out like in Bolivia, in like the middle of nowhere, people were like, what are you doing here? This is really interesting. It was still fun to get out there, and sometimes we'd stumble across ruins and we'd just get to know people, waterfalls, very cool things, lots of fun exploring. But our time in Ethiopia, we were working with an NGO, and so it was kind of expected when we showed up. Oh, hey, you're bringing us something. So the people were really great. When we got to be in their homes or have them in our homes, friends, like the hospitality culture there is really amazing. There's like this dutiful hospitality that it's just like, hey, I'm not being who I'm supposed to be if I'm not being hospitable to my neighbor, to my friends, and even to foreigners. Then there were others who like we were just kind of interacting with that weren't on that wavelength. They were more of like, hey, you're here to help, so like what help are you bringing? So we had to kind of ride that balance sometimes. But we had a great school for our kids, international school. You could go places that there was a lot of options, great grocery stores that would have what you needed. Like there was a long time that we were there before you could go and just find like chicken breast in a store. But when that happened, like all the foreigners made a run for those chicken breasts. But you could find pretty much everything that you needed. You may have to, instead of going to the grocery store where you could get it the cheapest, you'd start and you'd just go around to each grocery store. And then by the time you went everywhere, maybe you found everything on your list.
Yeah.
But that was good. I really enjoyed interacting with the people, and the coffee was, out of this world. Of course, I didn't have the same palate that I have now.
Right.
Like, I'd say that was probably a place where my love for coffee went to a new level from where it had been before. I would say that maybe my coffee snobbery started then.
Nice.
Maybe
Love
because
it.
like I'm now like a loyalist to the Ethiopian origin story of coffee.
Sure.
Whereas, there's some people who may say there are other places it could have come from. But
Nah, they're wrong.
No, they're wrong.
No.
Ethiopia's
We
where
know it's Ethiopia.
Ethiopia is where the plant came from, and that's okay.
Yep.
They have this chain of coffee shops there called Kaldi's Coffee. And Kaldi is the name of the shepherd who, they have in their
lore.
Their lore, that's right. That discovered coffee when his goats were eating the cherries and getting all crazy and jumping around.
Episode 1 of CoffeeU.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
But it looks so much like Starbucks.
Oh, really?
Like I think the lore of that is that the person who started it wanted to bring in this big chain from somewhere else. And we don't really want to go.
Started himself.
So,
why not?
Just ripped everything off.
I mean, in some places you can do that.
Yeah.
In the West Bank, they have a Stars and Bucks.
Stars and Bucks. Yeah.
And it looks just like it.
Yeah.
But what are they going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it.
It's interesting though. A lot of times we talk about different coffee sizes, and if we're using, like in our cafes, using traditional Italian coffee sizes, the macchiato is not like this big macchiato, like caramel macchiato, like people are used to getting at some places. But they do little macchiatos in Ethiopia. But basically everything's a macchiato. I want like a small macchiato or a big macchiato.
Oh.
But it's like, it's 2 inches tall or 4 inches tall.
I see.
And you can get they would say tukur or niche. Like you can get a dark or a white macchiato. So it's like you basically are going to order it how you want it, but it's always called a macchiato.
It's always
basically
macchiato.
all they know how to make. It's espresso with steamed milk, and we'll put a lot of espresso or a little bit. And you'd sometimes see them just like hold it underneath and like pull it out and like go back. Yeah, measurements. That's so funny. I say that my coffee snobbery maybe started then. I realized that there was a lot more coffee out there than I knew about. But then, they were roasting everything probably pretty inconsistently and a lot darker than I've come to like now. And then, as it is with most places, Kenya with tea, Ethiopia with coffee, like the best coffee is leaving the country, and going somewhere else.
Right.
Right.
And so I got to where I really was loving the coffee there, and I loved the coffee that Our friends would roast for us. But then if I were to look at it now, I'd see like, okay, here's like almost a yellow bean, and here's like almost a black bean mixed in with some that are probably all really over roasted. So the consistency wasn't there. But the nostalgia is totally there. Like,
Right.
I'm sure.
Huge part of my coffee story, for sure.
Awesome. So you came back to the U.S. and you started another company, Double Stone. You could tell everybody about that and plug that a little bit.
Yeah. So, well, to kind of bridge to that, when we were in Ethiopia, we did a whole lot of work in and among different cultures. We put in some wells with windmills in some places. We got to do some work in some of the refugee camps. So while where we were living in the capital had pretty much everything you could need, a lot of the places we were working pretty much had nothing you would need. And so the privilege that we had to get out there and do some things in those places was really great. We got to love the cultures that we were working with, still have amazing Ethiopian and Somali friends. When we came back, we really wanted to kind of hold on to some of those ties. We ended up just coming back because we needed some medical care that was too hard to get where we were. And so the Lord just said, hey, I'm kind of moving you right now. Like this has been a place where I've had you for a season, but I'm ready for you to be back in the States. We're going to move back there. And so we, I guess we're holding on to, grasping for straws. Can we keep this connection to Somalis? We wanted to be able to connect with them and started doing camel milk sales, which was a lot of fun. We even had them had it in our cafe.
Yeah, we tried to do it. It was just
People had to buy the camel milk.
We bought a case in January of 2020, and they actually were selling pretty well.
Yeah,
because we had a thing where if you bought a bottle, we could use it in your latte, and that was actually popular.
3 flat whites or something like that. Yeah.
And then, of course, March 2020 happened, and sales, of course, disappeared. But it was popular when we had them, for sure.
Maybe one day. But so we did that, and then as that was kind of trailing off, I started Double Stone Handywork, like you said, just doing small scale construction, handyman stuff, and then got to do a lot of work got to do some work for both of you guys.
That's right. You helped me
I think half of my house is Jayson's handiwork.
For sure it is.
And so did that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then
that leads us to our RIP Montevallo store.
Yeah.
We rented this.
That's right.
We rented this beautiful old theater called the Strand, and needed some work done on it.
Yeah.
And so we hired Double Stone.
Yep.
That was a fun project. I really enjoyed it.
Seriously, no joke. Jayson did an amazing job making that look like a cafe.
It was a great space.
Yeah, you pulled down that ceiling and revealed those old, original from the early 1900s balcony seating for the old theater. It was beautiful. And so that was like your first job for Baba John's.
That's right. Well, what was cool is while we were doing that, Jocelyn was there. Yeah. And so she was working on the opening of the cafe while I was working on the building of the structures. And like we'd bounce ideas off of each other. And Jerry and I had always said, we thought we might be overseas for a lot longer, but maybe one day in retirement, like we'll have our cafe. And she's a great cook. So anytime she would cook something that was, this has got to be on the menu. So we just had a little like running list. Okay, this is going to be on the menu in our cafe. This is going to be on the menu. But we also always wanted to have coffee. And so when I was building that and Jocelyn was working on fleshing out everything that we were going to do there with coffee, it was cool to kind of work, shoulder to shoulder with her in that. Like this is kind of, a little fulfillment of that. And then it wasn't long till we finished that. And what was it, like a month or two when we started talking about Meadowbrook?
February of 23.
Yeah.
And then later in that summer is when we started looking at Meadowbrook, your current location. And then Wendy and I were talking about who we going to get to do it. And then we were both like, well, I told her, I said, Jayson has always wanted to work in coffee. And she said, well, let's ask him.
Yeah. And
he said yes.
There you go. I think it was a combination of I've always wanted to do that. It was kind of fun, and man, that construction stuff was making a toll on my body.
I'm sure.
I was
and you're doing
my knees and my ankles.
You're doing it by yourself, so it makes sense.
Something that might be a little less stressful on the body, and The different chapter. I've really loved this chapter, though. It's been a good one.
How has it been working with Baba Java?
Well, Jerry and I think, have always been guinea pigs no matter what we're doing. And so it's, no new thing to be like, okay, well, here's a space that's opening. Let's start putting it together. And so being that bridge into starting Meadowbrook actually was a little bit of walking alongside our contractor and, helping to build and develop the space. Yes. And then that just kind of flowed right into serving customers. And that's been fun. I think hospitality is something that we've always thought of as a gift that we have, something we really enjoy. And so to kind of put the two together has been really great. I enjoy getting to serve the community, but I also really enjoy getting to invest in the people that we have working for us. So it's a job. It's got a lot of crazy stress to it sometimes, but the payout is when you have people who come and work for you for a few years, and it's okay, now I'm on to my next thing. And when you're writing that reference, it's like, oh, I'm really proud of these guys.
I agree.
Look, I can say some really great things about them. So it's been a lot of fun. The coffee knowledge has been a whole other side, like coming in and not knowing anything about coffee. And I told you I was starting to be a coffee snob, but I realized, there's a whole language that I don't know. Things from like the terminologies that go with like what you're doing when you're roasting to what you're doing when you're tasting coffee. I had gotten to where I was exposed to the specialty coffee world, just being friends with y'all, but then coming and starting to work in it and learning how to taste espresso as you're dialing it in. And then talking about like the taster's wheel and like all the different like nuanced flavors you can get when you're cupping. I had never done like cupping with coffee, and just getting to do all those things. That's been our privilege to get exposed to those things through Baba Java. And even going, I know we've on previous episodes talked about going to SCA and those expos, just getting exposure to the world of people who really know what they're talking about and are doing really cool things with coffee. So I feel like I get to be one of them now.
You are. You do great. So at the cafes, tell everybody, not just us, but tell everybody, what does your cafe do well?
What does my cafe do well?
Yeah. So we ask all of our managers these questions.
I mean, we do it all well.
But I mean, if there was something that that would mark your like, hey, this is one thing that my team, they excel at, whether it be customer service, whether it be, pouring latte or whatever.
I get what you're saying. I think that regulars are a really big thing in our cafes, and Meadowbrook definitely has a large population of regulars. So knowing people when they come in, like knowing their names, most of the time knowing their orders. Sometimes we have people who've been there for months that get the same thing. They're like, I'm going to trick you up today. But we just knowing people and not just serving them their order, but like having relationships with them. So like we notice when they're gone. If they go on vacation, it's like, oh, what happened? If somebody doesn't show up for a little while, maybe we start to be like that parent, waiting for their kid to come home. Like, okay, what's going on? It's been 3 or 4 days since we've seen you. And even some of them know that, and they'll let us know, hey, we're getting ready to go on vacation. So like, if you don't see us. But I think our relationship with the regulars is probably one of the things that I'm, most excited about. But the coffee's like top notch. I feel like the way that people talk about our coffee when they come in, they're like, you guys, it's always so consistent. It's always spot on.
That's great. That's what we want.
I'm not trying to say that we're better than any other cafe. That's like any other Baba Java, but like that's one of our pursuits is making sure that, we keep it right.
Yeah.
Because you can get it right in the morning, and as the weather changes or something, it can get off. But just keeping it right, I think, is something that we do really well at.
There's always let's try that again. There
you go.
Always challenges. Subject verb conjugation. You got to keep them the same.
Also, it can be a challenge sometimes.
It can be a challenge. There are always challenges. So, what are some challenges that you face at Meadowbrook?
I would say the biggest challenge that you face with running a cafe is just having the right people in the right place at the right time. So, I mean, you've got people who are, doing school. They have exams that come up. You have that transition kind of between one semester and a summer. A lot of times it happens in those times when things get thin, when people are going home for a semester, maybe they haven't come back for the summer. We're kind of in that right now. Probably the biggest challenge we had was last August. For me personally, we had a lot of people. It was the way it ended up, like leave for things that they foresaw, and then another wave of people that left for things that they didn't foresee. And so we had, probably, I think we had 250 hours of what had been available to me in terms of people's schedules that we could slot them in, gone. And we only schedule like 250 hours a week. So it was a crazy 3 or 4 months. So I think the challenges can come sometimes in just having the people and the availability. But, that's just kind of the nature of the way it is. Yeah, it's part of the job. So,
it is. All right. So tell us just one, because we don't have time for more. Sure. But what your favorite thing about working in coffee?
Favorite thing about working in coffee. Sorry, I always struggle with favorites because it's like you got to pick the best one.
I know.
I mean, it's probably just the drinking it. That's the privilege. That's the personal, selfish privilege side is I get to drink some really good coffees.
Yeah, you do.
Like we have great coffees.
Yeah.
I think I said when we went to SCA in Dubai, I went around and tried a lot of people's coffees, and I came back to the ones that we had, and I was like, ours are stacking up really great next to these. Yeah. Better than a lot of them, on par with
Agreed.
A lot of them. So I don't miss out on having good coffee. That's for sure. I also just really like taking people to the next level. If somebody walks in and they're like, hey, I can tell a little bit. Like, this is what I'm doing. Just trying to figure out, okay, you've just started grinding your own coffee. What can we talk about? Or you've just started drinking specialty coffee. You used to drink something that was like what your parents started you on or something like that. I don't want to talk bad about specific coffees, but,
we know what you mean.
The ones that were coming in tin cans,
Yes, of course. My dad still drinks those.
Yes. But like getting to take people to that next level, they're like, oh, you've helped me. Like, I just love helping people. And so like when they feel that they've been helped along the road into the next thing, that's really cool. Yeah.
That's a great answer.
I think a lot of coffee and running the cafe just comes down to hospitality for me too. So
when you are in charge of people, strange things happen sometimes. Name a good story. I know it's hard to say it on the spot, of a strange thing that happened.
Strange, yeah, weird, unexpected,
yeah, funny.
Ideally.
I mean, so I think some of the strangest things that happen in the cafe are related to our cameras. We have video surveillance and things like that. Like, I think that people are aware that sometimes we're not like sitting there, okay, I'm watching the cameras, like, oh, look what you did, look what you didn't do,
Right.
But sometimes people will like accidentally drop something, and it's funny because they'll look up at the camera, and it's like they're either confessing or they're like hiding or they're burying their head. So like, employees will do that. It's like, I know this could be captured, and maybe you'll see hilarious. It. I think sometimes even people have told me, I haven't seen them all, that they've done things specifically on purpose, just like, hey, I'm gonna dance in front of the camera so that you tell me about it later. But the reason I thought of the cameras, and this isn't related to a person so much, there was one day I walked into the cafe and there was a latte cup just sitting on the floor behind the bar, like somebody had just set it there like a prank. And I was like, okay, obviously nobody forgot this, because they would have literally had to step over it on their way out. So I went back and I looked at the cameras. It has a boiler and it stays in eco mode all night. So there's just this tiny little bit of vibration going on. But something had happened overnight where like just the vibration had hit just right, and that latte cup had shifted. And as it rolled off, it hit the rubber handle on the portafilter. So it bounced it out just past the hard bar. And then it landed on that rubber mat behind. So like it fell from on top of the espresso machine.
Didn't break.
Rolled all the way down. I mean, if you're looking at the thing, you're like, oh, look at a ghost must have just knocked it off, right? But like it's really funny because I was like, this is
And
the.
it landed perfectly straight up.
Yeah, it was just like
Oh my
it just said
goodness,
it
that
there.
is crazy.
So when you say the strangest thing, that's
pretty
what pops into
strange.
my head actually.
That
I
is
didn't
pretty
know that.
strange.
Maybe it doesn't have as much to do. Maybe somebody put it in a way that it could fall. That's what relates it back to a person.
Sure. They knew that it was going to vibrate just in the right
exactly.
way.
Yeah, but that was a funny morning for me when I showed up. It was like that. Yeah, lots of funny things showing up. See,
All right. A question from the audience,
Okay.
i.e. Matt Powell.
right.
Where can we get one of those cool T-shirts?
one of these cool T-shirts. Oh man, we've got them in cafe. You can buy them. We've got them just sitting on our shelf.
$45. Go get you one.
Yeah, these are cool shirts.
Yeah, Matt, go get you one.
Yeah, you can.
I've got one.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Well, Jayson, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
It was great to hear your story, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. And
Definitely.
hopefully they'll come in and see it at Meadowbrook and hear more.
Yeah.
You'll be a superstar
Glad
now.
to talk. That's what we do all the time.
That's right.
We work too, but we talk a lot.
I know you do. That's good.
Awesome.
Thanks, Brett.
Yeah,
Thanks,
come and see
Matt.
us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, appreciate. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you next time on
CoffeeU.
Thanks, man. Yeah, good job. Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy. That was good. That was really good.
I don't really want to dance to this, but I feel like it's contagious.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a good beat.